What's going on? My name's Brian Benable. I play in a band called Lucero. This is my stuff. So, this is new. I just got this like a month ago. It's the Fender Meteora, but it's the Ultra 2, which I guess is the nicer. Over COVID, I saw it, and they had it where it was just yellow, but the inlays were blocks, and I was like, man, it's like 70s weird. But, you know, COVID times, you couldn't get nothing. And then recently, I was like, hey, I want that Meteora again. He's like, if you wait 2 weeks, I can give you, they've upgraded. And I was like, fine. And they didn't do yellow, they took out, but this is Texas T, which I guess is black, but if you see it in the light, it's like gold fleck, which is ridiculous. It's amazing. So yeah, because I went from an SG to this, and this is what I brought. That's my spare. But this, what's amazing about this is there was a knob there, and there was a switch there, and that knob there was the most worthless thing. And I even was like, hey man, this thing's great, except for that knob. And the Fender guy was like, yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback about that knob. So I didn't do it, but my guy, we completely gutted it. This is a Seymour Duncan 78, like the Eddie Van Halen pickup. But my SG that's at the house, I have a 81 Les Paul pickup that somebody had given me that it was gold covered and embossed. So now I just jokingly put, because I got a gold tooth, so I just put a gold tooth in the guitars. But this is just for show. We took everything out. My guy won't leave them empty. All I want is it to be empty. And he's like, I can't do that. And I was like, well, I can't figure out how to take it out. And he's like, I know. That's the whole joke. Nope, we just took it out. These knobs don't really, well, they do a little bit. There's 3 knobs. This one had a switch. So you could go reverse polarity, single coil, which is, I don't know. I like it to do one thing. I want it to be like a Mopar. There's only one thing is, but I get it if you play a lot of different type songs, or if you're in a cover bands, like you might want to have your one guitar that sounds like 30 guitars, or there's choices. I have a tendency just to start hitting buttons just in the middle of a show being like, what does that do? But really, I just want it to be like a race car. And so it's just wired in straight. And yeah, so you can't even switch to that. Yeah, and I kept, because again, Tellies, SGs, everything is always down here. And then all of a sudden you're just like, and I just, somehow this sight line, I was just like, oh man. It plays the neck's like some kind of 1040, I don't know, it's like an Ibanez or a heavy metal neck. I love it. It's just all flat and wide. So I basically, it's like that movie where they go to space and drill the asteroid to break it up, but those guys tear that thing apart. Every time I get a new one, it's like, let's just take all the stuff out and make it right. And then yeah, that's a token from a photo booth in Vienna when we were over there. And that's Serenity Prayer. I've been sober like 10 years, almost 10 years, December. Oh, I've been a little over 10 years. And so yeah, so this is the new main guitar. Strings are String Joy, which I find amazing. I've never really, up until then, it's like, you know, strings are strings, and they're really not. And then with the strings, I was like, I can actually tell a difference, which if I can tell a difference, that means something's different. I use a 10.5. I went from an 11 to a 10.5 because part of my new job description is more, but I want to be able to have a lower end, but still bend it. It's not much, but it's enough to help out. So, and I never do anything that's not just standard tuning. I have, you know, I'm not Sonic Youth or Meat and Potatoes Band. So yeah, String Joy, 10.5, standard tuning. Beautiful guitar. So, like Ben said, everybody, we all have the tuners. I grew up Tube Screamer forever until 6 months ago. And I was like, man, if it said shred or metal, I bought them just for fun. And then my friend of mine, this is the reissue. It came out last year, but I bought an original from the 90s or like early 2000s, I'm not sure, but it was all beat up. I don't take that one out but there's nothing shred about this. I've come to find out I've joined a club like Quicksand, My Bloody Valentine, Radiohead. It's basically a JCM 800 from the 90s. So it's completely different than the other stuff. So it's a little bit more compressed sounding and kind of, because I try to sneak in some chunk sometimes. And so, which is weird too, is the settings on the reissue are completely different than the settings on the original, which tickle me. Only thing I don't like about it is it's like there's no reason for it to take up that much, like that. So I got a friend at home that's building me one that's probably going to be that big somehow. Like Ben, I'm an Earthquaker guy, and this is a brand new one. I had one and I stepped on it so hard that I popped the knob off, and I went through about 4 different boosts, and they all just sucked. I couldn't, and so I went back to what I like. And this spot used to be, and hopefully will be back again, is a Strymon Flynn, the tremolo and the reverb. After we did Among the Ghosts, the spring reverb was like, and Matt Ross Spang was like, you gotta, we were using these huge plate reverbs, and the Strymon Flynn was the first pricey pedal. It's a $350 pedal. I was like, what is it, like poop gold or something? You're like, And I used it forever, and I still have it. But 2 of the sleeves fell out, like the screw-in sleeves from touring, and I lost. But what happens is the circuit boards, so it shuts off. And so I have sent a Dear Strymon, may I please have 2 more sleeves? And I'm in a popular local band that goes around, or whatever. But for right now, just on the road I'm trying to basically recreate the Strymon with these 2 MXRs, because you got all the choices. But some reason last night when you hit the reverb, it doubled the volume, and that just got annoying. So we just got rid of it. And so right now I'm using this on the optic reverb, on the optic tremolo, which I don't know, it just sounds neat. But yeah, this is my business in the front. My other pedal boards are party in the, like have more interesting things on it. But basically my job is to strum and then get loud, take that off and play quietly behind him, then get loud. So basically, yeah, I don't do anything fancy. I wish that the other one that went here was here for you, but it is not. But look out, I think that's all purple too. It's real pretty. That one sparkles. So yeah. And we early on, I think Bullet made them. I don't know that we still use Bullet, but we randomly in some music store on tour found curly cables, and we have never went back. On the off chance I forget a curly cable or it breaks, I walk back and forth, and that thing tight. I was like, fuck, you just don't realize how amazing. It looks all 70s and tough, but they're handy as hell. But it's not necessarily a signature, but you'll see that we love the curly cable. So, but yeah, it's nothing fun. It's just loud. And this, I went from, when you start a country rock band, you're like, I need a Fender Twin and a Telecaster. And then you realize the Fender Twin is, you put a blanket over it and you can make it an end table because it's loud as frickin' frack. So I went from a Princeton, and then I wanted a little bit more headroom. And this has been, I might move back to the Mesa Blue Angel I have at the house, but right now, this is the greatest touring amp. It can get loud. I play it basically it's broke, so we had to move to second channel, which runs a little lower. But everything I own is broke right now. It's the end of the year. And so most of the settings are always this, just depending on the room and how loud Ben gets. I can move it around, I wiggle it between 2 and 3. He has a darker, louder tone, and so I have a brighter to cut through. So I'm always a little trebly, and he's a little bassy. It's not super apparent, but that's why it's not too sludgy. So I run it a little bit brighter. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I mean, I think you can pretty much shoot these things, and they're the Dunlaps, but they're the Max Grip. At one point years ago, and I don't know if they still make them, but we got a Dunlap guy send us some stuff once. I was using those Snarling Dogs, and I can't go back because you can't tell there's that grip on there. Like, it's real gross if you're not used to it. But man, if I use one of those regular slick ones, like the regular Dunlaps, they fly out. And so now all of a sudden I'm stuck with the fly paper or something. I'm an 88 right now. I think The 73, I don't strum enough. I like to kind of punk rock kid, so I'll do a lot of downbeat even if I'm not supposed to. And I like to pinch harmonic a little bit when you're not supposed to, but I like it to be a little stiffer. And you keep them in your pocket for so long that if they're thick, they get heated up after a while, so they thin out a little bit. So if you start thinner, they get thinner. Yeah, so if you want to know any more, you go to luceromusic.com. My Instagram is Brian Neal Venable. My website is thosevenableboys.com. But yeah, go online, check us out, see if we're coming to your town soon or not. So yeah, thank you.